Hey guys, it's Danny. Today we are going to try again to grow miniature roses. For those of you who are older on my channel, you might know I tried to grow them indoors in my quote-unquote greenhouse. It completely failed. They lasted a little bit, they actually rebloomed, but then things went downhill. So you know what? I'm gonna try it again, but this time outdoors. It is mini rose season here in my area. I'm still waiting for the proper rose season, but that's probably gonna be in about a month or so if I'm lucky. But so far, everybody's bringing miniature roses. And you know what's funny? What's funny is that all the flower shops tell you they're meant for indoors. They're not. Can you grow them indoors? Yeah, with some skill. But are they meant for indoors? Absolutely not. Right, I do not plan to keep this guy indoors. I will still pot him, but I will keep him outdoors in my garden. The reason why I'm gonna pot today's rose is that I don't really know if they're gonna survive. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know how well they will do in certain locations in my garden. I'm still learning where everything needs to go. This is the first time that I'm gonna grow garden plants as well in Cyprus, so it's gonna be quite fun. So if I discover one day that this guy is getting too much sun, you know, I wanna be able to move him quickly. So we're gonna pot him in this pot because he needs it. He's getting dehydrated like twice a day at this point. It's still very hot here. And I just watered him, so he is a little bit hydrated, but there is some work to be done, as you can see. And did I get my pruners? Of course I didn't. We're gonna try to manage with the scissors. Right, so how many roses do I have here? I have 4. This is the standard thing you will get when you buy mini roses. You don't have 1, you have 4, just to give you the impression that you have a bushier plant here, when in fact you don't. From my limited knowledge about mini roses, I can tell you that yes, you can grow them. They're just like normal roses, pretty much. They're just tinier. They will get bigger though. And if you so desire, you can absolutely divide these roses. But you can also keep them like this. Since I'm gonna pot them, I'm not gonna divide them, I'm gonna keep them like this. And I kind of wanted to start with just cleaning up a little bit the base here. We have a lot of dried material, and for roses, as far as I understand, that's not good. Not that I am very fearful that I'm gonna have mold or anything in my area. No, there's no such thing. But it's a breeding ground for bacteria and such. Everybody tells you to remove all of these dried leaves and everything, so that's what I am doing. Now, for those of you who are new, I think I can describe to you my climate in terms of US areas, because most of my viewers are actually from the US. Yes, Birdie, you want to say something on the camera? You might hear Birdie from time to time, and we might be lucky enough to hear her speak actual English. Right, so I've been watching some rose videos because I'm preparing for the roses, and the climate or area in the US that I can better relate with is Arizona. Mind you, I feel like Arizona is slightly worse than inland Cyprus when it comes to heat and drought. Looking at the annual averages, yeah, we do seem to have mildly cooler temperatures, like just a few degrees Celsius, and a little bit more rain in the winter time, but it appears to be quite similar. Now, these few degrees difference mean that yes, we can actually grow more stuff here without having issues, but not too many, which is kind of sad because it's a very different environment than what I grew up with, and the plants that I grew up with, I cannot grow here. They will not survive, so that's sad. And my favorite types of gardens are the ones in temperate climates. I don't know about exotic gardens. They're not in my heart just yet. Maybe they will be. So that's a little sad, but I need to face my reality and need to like garden in the way that it's appropriate to my climate. So yeah, just to give you an idea of how things work in my country, it's similar to Arizona, not that hot though, mildly not that hot. It's not humid here, it doesn't really rain for most of the summer. That's where I'm at. Roses though, they do seem to do quite well in my climate, with some differences. Right, so the next thing that I will do is I will unpot the roses. This one wants to come out already. Maybe I should have gotten different types of gloves because these guys still have thorns, but we're gonna do this with these gloves. I do seem to have quite a nice root system. This one doesn't look particularly well. It's a little brown, but it's still okay. So I'm gonna pot it just like this. I have quite a larger pot here, which is fine. Again, shall I remind you, I live in what seems to be an oven. It's okay if I quote-unquote overpot stuff. And I actually purchased a soil specifically made for roses, or so they say. So let me just put a little bit of paper here on the bottom, just so I don't lose soil. And yes, it appears to be a soil that is rich in organics, which is great. I also have an organic fertilizer that I will add. And I'm gonna show you on the screen the brand of soil that I'm using. We're not spoiled for choice here in my country with brands and organic stuff. That's not a thing here. So if I want organic fertilizers and such, I need to dig very deep. Probably. So I'm just gonna use whatever is easily available for me now, but I think it will do okay. Alrighty, so let's see. A little more. Roses drink a lot of water, but the thing is they do great here in the ground, but I have no experience with them here. I do know people who do have roses, they have a lot of experience, so I am asking them and I am getting advice from Cypriots, pretty much, who grow roses. But you know, some things I kind of do want to experiment myself. Right, so I'm gonna center the rose. I'm leaving a little bit of a lip here just to make sure that when I water it doesn't overflow. We'll see if it's too deep, but I don't think so. So I'm just gonna put soil around it. And at this point, maybe I should add my organic fertilizer. It's pelleted. Let me just see how we are with the level. I think we're good. So again, I'm gonna put it on the screen. This is the only organic fertilizer that I could find easily available, let's say. It's pellets. And it smells very interesting, but it's okay. Now you might be a little surprised if you're used to me from the orchid content that I never use organic fertilizers. Well, there is a time and a place for everything, and epiphytic orchids and organic fertilizer, in my opinion, just do not jive. Can I use that word? But in my garden, yes, absolutely organic fertilizer as much as possible, because the climate, microbial and living things climate in my garden is so vastly different than the quote-unquote sterile environment in which we grow orchids, in which we have to grow orchids in our home. There is a very different game we're playing there when we're growing epiphytic orchids. We cannot really play like they do in nature or like nature does. So yeah, with orchids, I shall never recommend to anybody to use organic fertilizers because they need to go through some breakdown. That, in my opinion, doesn't happen in bark tips or coconut husk or leca, especially leca. Tell me, do you have earthworms in your leca? Do you have fungus gnats? Maybe you do have fungus gnats, but you want to get rid of them. Well, fungus gnats do have a role. Did you know? Do you have isopods in your orchid pots? No? Shocker. Well, if you want to use organic fertilizers, maybe add some isopods. I'm kidding, don't. And with orchids, it's also very hard to tell if they're doing well or not. Probably in this video, after I just said, you'll find comments saying, well, I'm using this organic fertilizer and my orchids are so good. Yeah, don't doubt it. It takes a lot of time to have deficiencies on orchids. And most of the times, in my opinion, again, deficiencies with orchids don't look so bad as deficiencies with a rose, let's say. They just look like not as many flowers. Do you ever wonder why I have so many flowers on my Phalaenopsis? You know, the flower shop ones, and maybe others don't? Well, one of the reasons is that I don't use organic fertilizers because they're just not that efficient. But again, you know, not everybody wants to have an abundance of like flowers and production and everything, you know. Many beginners are just happy to have their orchid bloom, and that's just fine. But the whole organic stuff didn't catch on to me because I don't see the point of it in growing orchids in the living room, you know. But when it comes to outside, yeah, absolutely. You will say, well, you don't have isopods in this pot. Not now, but I will have. Like, I do have some pots in my garden that need to be, or some plants that need to be transplanted. And as I transplant them, I find isopods inside. I find little worms, little critters. Yeah, even in pots outside, I have stuff in them. But in my orchid pots, I don't. Not that the isopods would live in such a dry environment that we keep orchids in, but definitely in this pot even I will have much more biodiversity than I have in my very dry orchid pots. Righty, so we are pretty much done. This was your standard mini rose. Oh, it doesn't even say rose, it says plant. Thankfully we have a tag because I thought it was a couch. So yeah, this is just a typical mini rose. It might have a variety, it might be named somehow, but the providers that we have here don't bother to tell us these details. So yeah, I don't know what variety this is, just your supermarket, let's say miniature rose. You find it in flower shops, supermarkets, garden centers, wherever. But theoretically, they are proper roses, and if you treat them right, people say that they will flourish for you. We're gonna see. We're gonna see how we do. Right now, I still have quite a bit of flowers on my mini rose. There's no pruning that I need to do. I just wanted to like tidy him up and just remove everything that was dry or was looking pretty bad. And in time, you know, we're gonna see how we're gonna prune him. And for now, I'm going to set him in a place that receives sun for like half of the day, but then shade, because I don't know how this rose has been grown, and still we have like this weekend we're gonna have 35 degrees Celsius, and that's a little too much. So I don't want to shock him by putting him in direct sunshine just yet, although roses can take direct sunshine here, but not this guy. He's not used to it just yet, and it's still super hot here. So I'm just gonna baby him for a little bit, and then as the autumn progresses, I'm gonna move him to a fuller sun area. And if he still lives like next year, I'm gonna keep him in full sunshine, and we'll see how he does. Well, would you look at that? Look what I found at the flower shop. Yes, it is mini rose season. They're super affordable and they're just so pretty. You know what? I'm just gonna yellow it. I bought all of these guys just to plant in the front of the house. It's gonna like line a walkway. I think it's gonna look very pretty. It's been a few days since I filmed the previous footage, and I've kept the other mini rose in direct full sunshine, and he's not getting burned or anything. He's doing okay. And I think he's gonna be okay. I think these guys will be okay as well. So I'm just gonna go with them directly in the ground and see what happens. And yeah, I'm gonna draw my conclusions then, because I don't have as many pots as I need right now. So you know what? I'm just gonna experiment with these guys since, you know, they're so affordable and it is the season. Another season will be for Valentine's, so I think 'tis the right time. Winter is the right time for these roses to grow. So these are the mini roses that I want to put in the ground. And this one, I think I'm gonna put it in the pot, because this one is special. So there was like a whole sea of pink roses somewhere. I don't even know if it's a miniature because it looks bigger, but it doesn't look as big as a standard rose. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know rose talk. You can educate me in the comments. I want to know the lingo. So this one was the only one that had this, should we call it variegation? Do we see? Oh, this petal is full light pink. These ones have sectors of variegation. Look at that. He's gorgeous. I am such a sucker for contrast, and I love white and anything pretty much. Some of you might know this about me, so when I saw it, I flipped. Now, there are of course 4 plants in here, so I don't know if the others are the same, because there were a lot of roses this color that didn't have any type of variegation. So maybe this has a little bit of a mutation, or I don't know, maybe it's the only one with this mutation. We're gonna see. Maybe by the time that I upload this video, these buds will open as well, and we're gonna see. But something tells me these ones will just be pink. This guy though, yeah, look at that, he's special. I really hope that this lasts, you know, and the other canes will be nice like this as well. Do you call this a sport? How would you call this? It's so pretty. I've started to watch rose videos, and there's a channel, Roses in Japan or something like that. I'm gonna link it to it. Oh my gosh, the varieties that they have and the varieties on that channel. I wish I could have them all. I can't because I don't have space, but oh my goodness. I'm gonna collect some roses because they're just so pretty. I love these stripy roses. Right, so this is about it for now. We're gonna see what type of updates I can give you by the time that I upload this video. But yeah, most probably in the next few days I'm gonna plant these guys and I'm gonna show you how they look like. And yeah, stay tuned for the outro of the video. Alright, so I actually planted the mini roses as a little bit of a border in my walkway. I did it this morning because it was foggy before the sun came out. I woke up early and yeah, they look so pretty here lining my walkway. And I actually discovered something really important. These guys have absolutely no issue with the heat. Absolutely no issue. Yeah, sure. I mean, the flowers look a little bit weird, but then the center looks nice. So that might have been a little bit of dehydration, but we've had a pretty brutal weekend with 37°C yet again. And this guy, I wanted to do a test. This is the one we repotted. I put it in full sun, and this is absolutely full sun all day long. And he's absolutely fine. He's not burned. Everything is fine. Yeah, the flowers, but you know, the flowers have developed in greenhouse conditions. So yeah, they're a little bit burned. That guy's a little bit burned there as well. It's fine. They are okay with the heat. Luckily though, summer is slowly dying off, so we won't have such temperatures now in October. But happy to report that nothing incredibly scorched, which is great. Also a little update on this variegated guy. Look at this. This bud also has some of that flower variegation. And looking down, yep, it comes from the same stem. I have a few stems here. Are you even in focus? I can't see, it's very sunny. But yeah, it is the absolute same stem. So probably these guys in the back, they will not be variegated. But this one, the variegation persists. Should I call it variegation? How should I call it, you guys? Because variegation usually refers to the leaves, right? Maybe it's not that. I don't know how to call it. But I'm happy to see that it's throughout the plant. You see? So it's not just this flower, which is great. I'm curious to see these other two, how they are. Possibly they are pink, just like the other roses at the flower shop. So I'm going to be separating this guy, probably, and plant him somewhere separate. For now, I'm just keeping him here in this pot. I need to fertilize him. I need to put some iron in here. Here's an important thing that I also learned. Things do much better in the ground than in the pot. Let me show you. So again, excuse the sun, but these are some pentas that I planted, and that one was not really planted at the same time because I didn't have time that day. I left it in a pot and it actually looks better now, but it just took one day for these guys to be absolutely fine, and that one even has some burn marks on the side. It got so dehydrated in the pot, watered at the same time. I made sure she's hydrated, but no, in one day, everybody else okay? Full sun? That one, no, not so much. Just because she was in a pot and probably the roots got overheated and she probably got dehydrated. I don't know. But it's valid with all of the plants that I have. Unless, you know, they're potted in big pots or they're in part shade. If they are in pots, they just die within a few hours. It's not working out. And in the same location, same type of plant, absolutely fine, planted in the ground. So that's why I kind of YOLO'd it with those roses. And I'm keeping a close eye on this guy because I don't know where I want to plant it just yet. I really don't. I need to make a decision. But he is in part shade. He only has sun for like 4 hours a day in the morning. And I make sure he's watered. I need to water it right now. But yeah, I cannot wait to put him in the ground, to be honest. I just don't know where. So yeah, I discovered that things in the ground are very different. Very, very, very different. And yes, when I say in the ground, I say surrounded by the pebbles, which I know many of you had some issues with because you think they're gonna overheat and burn the roots. Actually, no. They're actually keeping in the moisture and keeping the soil much cooler. They're light colored, as you noticed. They reflect the heat and the light. They do not get hot to the yeah, they're warm, ambiental temperature, pretty warm in the summer, but they're not hot. And they do a fantastic job in maintaining humidity. And wood pieces, I'm going to talk about it probably in a different video. Not so common here. It's not a thing to mulch with wood here. Everybody mulches with rocks pretty much. And mulch with wood chips, is very expensive. And actually those wood chips get hotter in the sun because they're brown. So yeah, I don't know. I'm going to try them out for sure, but I don't know if this is the area to mulch with wood. It also attracts termites, and we have an issue with ants in this area. Anyway, long story short, let's end it here. This is the rose video. I'll keep you up to date. So far so good with the roses. They're planted in full sun, and in the soil they actually do much better than potted, right? So let's end it here. I'm gonna post this as soon as I can, and do let me know about this rose, what you think. What type of rose is it? I really love it. I don't know what it is, but I hope the variegation persists. I think it will. Alrighty, so thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed today's gardening rose thing, and I'll keep you up to date. Bye.